In prayer. Almighty God, ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our counsels and actions, so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Amen.
I represent Ebonyi South. Mr. President, I have a petition coming from one of my constituents, Cadet Carlo Emmanuel. The petition is on unlawful discharge of Cadet Carlo Emmanuel. He's appealing that the Senate prevails over this matter and gives him justice. That the punishment of discharge should be reversed and return him back to school. Of major concern is that...
Is the matter before a court of law?
No, sir.
You may submit a petition.
Thank you, sir.
The petition is referred to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Commission petitions to report back within 4 weeks. Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ositangu. I'm in the Senate on behalf of Enugu West. Mr. President, the petition I have is from a constituent, Jude Chukudolwe. His petition is about a wrongful seizure of his vehicle by the customs. He's tried all possible to recover and he seeks justice.
Has it been taken to any court of law? Is it
no.
Soldiers? Okay.
No.
You may wish to submit the petition.
Thank you.
The petition is referred to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petitions to report back within 4 weeks. Senator Ede Dafinori.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues. Ede Dafinori, representing Delta Central. Mr. President, I wish to raise a point of order, orders 41 and 51, regarding the derailment of the train on the Ijewu-Itakpe line of the Nigerian Railway Corporation.
Distinguished colleagues, Senator Ede Dafinori approached the chair this morning to put forward this matter that happened within his senatorial zone, which is of urgent public importance. Is it the view of the Senate that it should be taken, should be listened to? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion on the recent derailment of the Ijewu-Itakpe train line and the need for urgent investigation, rehabilitation, and enhanced safety measures to protect passengers and national infrastructure. I ask the Senate to note that the Ijewu-Itakpe standard gauge rail line remains one of Nigeria's most strategic transportation corridors, linking the South-South through Delta State to the North-Central region, serving as a vital route for the movement of passengers, goods, and industrial materials. I also further note that the line, which resumed operations on Wednesday, October 29th, after 3 months of suspension, has within just 4 days of service experienced a series of alarming technical failures, maintenance downtime on Thursday, a major mechanical fault on Friday that left passengers stranded until nearly midnight, and finally, a derailment near Agbo in Delta State on Saturday, November 1st, 2025. Deeply concerned, therefore, that while there has been fortunately no loss of life so far, These recurring mechanical breakdowns and derailments point to grave safety lapses, inadequate technical supervision, and poor maintenance culture within the NRC. If unaddressed, such incidents could lead to tragic outcomes in the future, a risk that cannot be ignored. The Senate should be aware that this latest derailment is not an isolated occurrence, as the Ujenwu-Itakpe standard gauge rail line has recorded a troubling series of derailments, service suspensions, and acts of vandalism in recent years. In the last 2.5 years, there are 10 incidents spreading from January the 22nd, 2023, a derailment near Kogi State, April 2023, a temporary service suspension following track instability near Agbo, Delta State, December 2023, vandalization of rail clips and fasteners around Agbaro, resulting in significant operational delays. May 2024, reported derailment around Owa-Alero, Edo State, which further disrupted service. June 2024, derailment near Ujenwu, Delta State, involving several coaches. While no injuries were reported, the service was suspended for 2 days. August 2024, service disruption caused by mechanical faults and vandalized signaling cables between Itakpe and Uromi. December 23, 2024, minor derailment at Akpara Station in Ethiopia East local government area of Delta State. April 2025, the line was suspended for 72 hours following multiple engine failures that disrupted movements in both directions. May 2025, track vandalization reported near Agbaro in Delta State. July 15th and 16th, 2025, NRC suspended train operations on that corridor, citing technical challenges. Mr. President, these persistent failures reveal a systemic pattern of neglect that now threatens public safety and national infrastructure investment. The Senate should be further concerned that repeated acts of vandalism, including theft of rail clips, fasteners, and signaling equipment, have been reported along the corridor, compromising track integrity and increased derailment risk. The Senate should observe that the Ujenwu-Itakpe corridor currently operates only one daily passenger service in each direction, carrying hundreds of passengers. Yet, the route remains overstretched, under-maintained, and exposed to security threats due to insufficient surveillance and delayed technical inspection. I ask the Senate to acknowledge that while the federal government and the NRC have invested significantly in rail infrastructure, the absence of independent technical audits, weak safety enforcement, and a lack of real-time monitoring have limited operational reliability and passenger confidence. The Senate should be deeply concerned that though the feasibility studies and design works for the extension of the Ujenwu-Itakpe line to Abuja have already been completed, implementation has stalled for years, forcing passengers to still travel for over 4 hours by road from Itakpe to Abuja, thereby defeating the corridor's full economic potential and increasing travel hardship. The Senate should believe that extending the line to Abuja and modernizing the infrastructure will not only promote economic integration between the South-South and the North-Central regions, but also reduce road traffic fatalities, boost trade efficiency, and enhance Nigeria's overall transport resilience. Accordingly, sir, I ask that we resolve as follows. 1, to urge the Federal Ministry of Transport and the NRC to carry out immediate independent technical assessment of the Ujenwu-Itakpe rail line to determine the root causes of the recent series of mechanical failures, vandalism, and derailments, and to implement corrective measures without delay. 2, to mandate the Senate Committee on Land Transport to conduct an on-the-spot oversight visit to the affected section of the line near Agbo and submit a comprehensive technical and safety report to the Senate within 2 weeks. 3, to call on the federal government to provide adequate budgetary support for the rehabilitation, modernization, and safety enhancement of the Ujengwe-Takpe corridor, including installation of advanced signaling systems, CCTV surveillance, track stabilization, and emergency response units along the line. 4, request that the NRC increase operational capacity by deploying more coaches and ensuring at least 2 passenger trains services daily in each direction between Ujengwe and Itakpe to ease passenger congestion and improve service reliability. 5, sir, to urge the Ministry of Transportation to commence immediate implementation of the approved extension of the Ujengwe-Itakpe line to Abuja, building on the completed feasibility and design studies to ensure full interregional connectivity, reduce travel hardship, and unlock the corridor's economic potential. 6, Mr. President, to direct the NRC to strengthen operational safety protocols, improve passenger communication systems, and institutionalize regular preventive maintenance to avert future derailments and service disruption. And lastly, Mr. President, to recommend that the Federal Ministry of Transportation establish a National Rail Safety and Standards Unit tasked with conducting periodic safety audits, enforcing compliance with international best practice, and ensuring accountability and transparency across all national rail corridors. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Ningi, I even thought, because we're sitting near to Senator Dandose, I thought something had happened before I came. I thought you had crossed.
Mr. President, thank you very much. My name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Center of Bauchi State. Mr. President, this motion cannot come at a better time than now. Mr. President, this is a very, very sad story, sad development. This is a line that was constructed no more than 6 years ago. And this is just the southern corridor. You look at the times of derailment, over 11 derailments from 2023 to date. We are not even comparing the derailment of the northern corridor between Abuja and Kaduna. This is a summary, the tragic summary, Mr. President, of Nigeria as a nation that seeks development. Billions have been spent to construct these lines with the intention of bringing succor to our people. If you look at the road infrastructure in Nigeria and the nature of it, it was a welcome development when the then government of the day began to nurse this idea of railway construction. And Mr. President, I've been sure from the beginning of that project to the completion of that project, we have not, as a country, we have not taken into consideration what went into that project first and foremost, and whether or not the lines laid were the top range lines that we've seen in other climes. If you compare the amount of money spent on railways in Nigeria between 2019 To date, other clients, Mr. Senate President, you will now know that we are not moving an inch. Mr. President, this is a huge indictment to even the National Assembly. How long, how many times have our committees actually take time to oversight some of the projects? This is about the 11th derailment. Have we had any report except today by a committee that is scheduled to oversight this project? Mr. President, the answer is no. Also, this is an indictment to various anti-graft agencies that we have in this country. The quantum of money spent and the terrible tragic derailments that happens day in, day out. Mr. President, nobody seems to care. It's costing lives, it's costing property, it's costing a lot of money. Tell me, how do we get another money to do these lines again? Considering the fact that all the two lines, the southern corridor, the northern corridor, money were borrowed to do it. And Mr. President, our bureaucrats, our experts compromise the standards. Look at Abuja, Kaduna, every 1-2 months. Nothing works. Even the escalators in the railway stations, they don't work. Nobody cares whether it works or not. So certainly this is a very sad development, and I don't know where we are going as a nation. If we continue to borrow money, we didn't use money or any other money to develop these lines. We borrowed money from Chinese, and yet this is a tragedy we are harvesting. I think, Mr. President, we have to be more serious. We have to be more focused. Those who are responsible, the agency, the railway agencies, the Ministry of Transport, must come to account. Because we can't allow all these things to be happening. And a lot of times the say, President has created ministry and created ministers. And the president cannot do all these things at a time. Because there are agents that are saddled with this responsibility. Even taking this matter to committee to do an investigation is neither here nor there. Because the committee, ab initio, is actually saddled to oversight it. Where is the report? When did they travel? So, Mr. President, I think we need to be more serious, and I commend Senator Dapinone. These are things that will make a difference. These are things that will make democracy tick. Because without parliament, Mr. President, democracy doesn't survive. We have to do what we ought to do and question those who are responsible for this thing. Mr. President, I so second.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Injek presenting Imo North. Mr. President, I will first of all appreciate Senator Dafinone Ede, who have shown why he has to take over from his father, late Senator Dafinone. If you watch the way and manner he has listed out the incidents on this rail line, shows what his concern, shows his love for this nation, shows his commitment that we should do better. This is exactly 10 incidents on one rail line. I would suggest that we don't need to debate much about this. Rather, adopt all he has called for in this motion, whole and entire. Rather, also suggest that the ministry and the agency in particular, the Nigerian Rail Corporation, should be reorganized entirely. They are not doing their job. We should also draw the attention of the security agencies. They are lacking so much. And to add to what he has demanded here, I will also say it's not only linking that line to Abuja. We should link the Abuja with all the external lines, maybe the one leading Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, the one going, and all the rest of them. So we should link our Federal Capital Territory consciously with the rail line. It will help us decongest the road, reduce traffic by that matter, reduce stress. We should commit to extending rail lines throughout this nation. Our roads are terrible. And by the time we construct today or rehabilitate today, the next moment is gone. But by the time we make this an essential project in this country, rail lines, most of our loads will be going through the rail cargo, and that will help to save our roads. So, for what has happened, let us ask that Nigeria Rail Corporation should be reorganized, and people who has a proper consciousness be placed in that rail organization. They should start now to map out the possible future rail lines. I'm not saying they will start constructing rail lines immediately. The reason for this mapping is like what came up on roads last time when the issue of concrete roads came up. We could not and we did not anticipate that as to make the provision to map it so that we can provide routes for tugs of pipes and all the rest of them in the past. And now we are going into concrete roads. In future, we'll be cutting the roads to pass our dots. It is now a call, clear call, that we should map out the possible routes of rail lines in future. Very, very important. We should add it to this. And in all, I repeat, let us adopt what our brother Senator Ede Dafne have made here so that we can move forward in this country. Thank you.
Senator Ndubueze, have you finally finished? No, I'm asking, have you finished? If you are through, then I can tell another person. Okay. Okay. Senator Otomelekon, he has mentioned the things he didn't say, so you can say.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, very distinguished colleague. Adeola Olamilekon, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, let me also join in commending the mover of this motion, Senator Ide Dafilone. Mr. President, my own contribution will be a little bit different because reading through the motion of Senator Dafilone, I noticed that emphasis was on Ujewu Itakwe standard gauge rail line. And I've listened to the contribution of some of my colleagues who have spoken that centers on the generality of the rail infrastructure in Nigeria. Mr. President, without going separate ways, I want to quite agree with Senator Ningi, who I met while he was contributing, that yes, the federal government have borrowed so much money to invest into the rail lines. And it will call for concern if some of these rail lines have started failing due to one, some technical or mechanical faults, and two, majorly vandalization by some unscrupulous Nigerians. But Mr. President, one thing this motion is seeking us to do is clear. He has drawn our attention on the importance of this rail line to the to at least to the Nigerian rail line corridor. But when was this rail line constructed? When last was maintenance carried out on this rail line? We should know all of this so as to guide us as to, because when you look at, yes, we have invested. Is it one of the rail line constructed during the last administration? Is it one of the rail lines? If it is, then it calls for a full-blown investigation. If it's recently, a full-blown investigation, because we know how much, in millions of dollars, that was borrowed to construct these rail lines. And that is why I want to be clear. And I'm happy that it's one of the newest rail lines that is newly constructed. So we have to call on the committee to carry out a full-blown investigation on this particular item so that we can get to the root of it. Because if you listen to some of the observation contained in this document, day by day activities, that is from January 2nd, 2023 to October 29, 2025, when this rail line resumed, the mover of this motion was able to chronicle all the activities of what transpired, of what happened on a day by day, from mechanical fault to technical fault to vandalization. So, Mr. President, I'm in total support of this motion and calling on the Senate to carry out a dutiful investigation on the root cause of this continued disruption of the rail line services of Ijewu Itaipe Standard Gauge Rail. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I so submit.
Well, since somebody has decided to hit the nail on the head, all others were speaking politics. Nobody wanted to hit the nail on the head. So let me thank the distinguished Senator Olamileko. Distinguished Senator Ide Dafinone, this motion is timely. I know that there is what they call warranty in contracts. There is no way you can finish constructing a rail line and something gets spoiled in 5 years. You must go back to those who did the installation and those who supplied the rail facilities. It will be their responsibility, not the responsibility of the Nigerian government. We have had crashes, derailments, too many. And it is also one of the infrastructure, I should say, that has caused Nigeria a lot of indebtedness. And as even the head of the China Rail that supplied this rail line to us was visited by the Chinese equivalent of EFCC, and he jumped through the window in a 48-story building and died. You are there. The corruption is not taken lightly. So in our own case, talking and talking and talking will not solve the problem. We have to get to the root of how much was borrowed for these rail lines, how much was spent on this rail line, who were the people who handled the contract of installation, and how come there was no warranty, who are those purchasing or paying for the repairs, and how can you finish a rail line, commission it, and in 3 months there is derailment, or it stops midway. And then some of them 5 days, it stops midway, and all that. Senator Babangida, you've been a permanent secretary in was it Ministry of Works or FCT? Works and Housing. So if you were among those culpable in this, we have to find we have to do something about it. But please just lend your voice. Just do what I'm talking about this having an opportunity to investigate and find out how much was borrowed, how much was expended, and we cannot continue to pay money on something we have never used, something that is costing lives, and then most of our very heavy items ought to move through rail in order to save the traction on the roads and also save the roads that we are constructing. But that is not the case today. So I don't know whether you have any explanation to make if it was during your tenure.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, sitting as Chair, Babangida Hussaini, Senator representing Jigawa Northwest. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to contribute to this very important debate. The truth, Mr. President, is that distinguished colleagues, we tend to treat matters like this with levity. Maintenance issues, in fact, from conception to completion, our approach to project management and delivery is very, very opaque and very, very poor. And I think it is apt and proper for this very important matter to be thoroughly investigated with a view to forestalling future occurrences. I don't want to say much, but I believe you are thinking, Mr. President, and the thinking of this huddled chamber is in the right traction for us to really dig deeper and determine one, loan, how it was packaged, technical details of the project itself, including specifications and including the standards, and also the technical details in terms of project delivery. And then you now look at how we are, why is it that we're having this kind of problems, while other countries have similar projects that are delivering for more than 20, 30 years. We have the very clear examples. The same Chinese built the Mombasa-Kenya rail line. It's doing very well. It's one of the most important projects delivered in Africa by the Chinese. And they have not had any problem. But here, we're having continuous issues maintaining and managing our infrastructure and the rail line. And permit me, Mr. President, to say that the poor condition of our rail line is a direct consequence and a direct result why our roads are failing. Because movement of freight, goods and services on road takes a toll on the condition and the durability of the roads. And that's why my brother, the senator, overseeing FEMA, is having gray hair now, managing national roads in Chisahabiao, because the roads are failing. The volume of traffic, the volume of cargo moving north to south, south to north, is such that it's beginning to wear down on the condition of our highways. So I think, Mr. President, I thank you for the opportunity to speak on this matter. And I think you have the idea behind digging deeper to determine what really happened is in the right traction. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, having heard from the former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Works and Housing, and having heard contributions from distinguished colleagues, this is not a matter we should treat with levity. Not only does it involve life, it also has eaten deep into the pockets of Nigerians. Because all Nigerians are now made to pay for either the inefficiency, ineptitude, or otherwise. I don't want to make any allusion or any allegation until we have been able to unravel the mystery behind this contract and why it is like this. So if you January 22, 2023, derailment near Kogi State involving 140 passengers, leading to another shutdown of operations. April, 4 months later, temporary service suspension following track instability near to Agbo in Delta State. December of the same year, 2023, vandalization, or even this January 2022, 2023, I think that was when we were doing election, UK. That was when they were doing election to bring in the new administration. The election took place 25th of February. So the derailments and all sorts of things had already started. And that's why I'm even talking about, what about the warranty? Just that. So by the time we finish the governorship election by April of the same year, services were shut down. So it's not something that one will say that it was called by the current administration. Definitely, government is a continuum, and anybody that is responsible for service to the nation should do so with diligence. But you'll be shocked that the same people, Adaramodu, if you were one of them, I don't know, the same people. I thought you wanted to go to your seat. I thought you wanted to go to your seat. The same people that did this rail line are the same people seeking to take back government by revolution. The same characters. And they are without remorse, without answering questions. The same characters are the ones now seeking to take back a government after they left this kind of mess behind, with the amount of indebtedness they caused the country. So for me, temporary shutdown of services, following track instability near to Agbo, as at April 2023, this current administration had not even come into power. So we already had a failed project before we came here. By December of the same year, a lot of derailments are taking place. By 2024, we had our little derailments. By July 2024, derailment near Ujevu. Am I right? Ide in Delta. By August, 1 month after, another disruption caused by mechanical faults. You spend trillions on rail line. You commission it, and within 1 year, you have all sorts of mechanical faults. We have to find out whether they were actually new ones or whether they were the ones that were discarded. It's almost like going to our airport. You see a lot of planes that are no longer in use, and somebody will go and paint it and put new seats and sell it, and then it comes. After you finish pouring water on it, like Air Nigeria, a vamoose or vamooses. Air Nigeria, I saw when water was being poured when Air Nigeria, 2 of the planes arrived. But I've not seen Air Nigeria enter Air Nigeria. What happened? As chairman of appropriations, you will know what happened. Because so I don't know what happened. I'm still looking for Air Nigeria till today. After the fanfare, the same thing happened in this rail line. It's a very serious issue. So the lives of Nigerians are involved. The economy of Nigeria is involved. So we look at the prayers. Yes. Distinguished Senator Ide Davinone, you have brought this to us. You want us to do a thorough job on it, isn't it? Okay, so all these are prayers, urge the federal government, mandate the Committee on Land, call on federal government, request Nigerian Railway Corporation, do this. urge Ministry of Transportation. Everything you are putting here boils down to only one place: investigation, investigation, investigation. Distinguished colleagues, those who are in support, that all these prayers boil down to investigation, say aye, and those again say nay. The ayes have it. So who will couch it? Distinguished Senator Ningi, you've spoken before. Maybe I should. Oh, okay. Suggest so that Senator Oshowole can give us another prayer. There's no other prayer.
No. Pray prayer. Pray.
Investigation. Yes.
My prayer says, conduct a full-scale investigation through public hearing on the general situation of our rail lines in Nigeria. Conduct a full-scale investigation. No. It has to be a general one. It has to be a general one. Because this is an opportunity to make the issue a Nigerian issue. So, full-scale investigation through public hearing on the general situations of our rail lines. So whatever
Well, the suggestion is noted, but the mover of the motion, how do you want to couch it so that we can call for secondment?
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe that the recommendation of distinguished Senator Ningi is in order, but I'd like to possibly extend it so that it clearly covers the past, and I believe the pouring, the cost, and the specification should be clearly stated in the resolution that we are passing. And then the future should also be covered. Where are we going with the maintenance and development of the rail line, so that the investigation looks at the rail situation in its totality, so that when they finish, we have a comprehensive report on the rail line system in the country.
So you suggest that we should set up an ad hoc committee to undertake full-scale investigation?
Yes, sir.
Into the rail lines, rail situation in the country in view of the consistent development and dangers to lives and properties.
Yes, sir.
And the Senate should set up an investigative panel that will call for public hearing, and then, of course, and also call the players, both past and present, to interrogate and come up with a comprehensive solution on why we are having the teething problems and at the same time the way forward. I think that's what they are trying. Yes,
that is okay. We need to mandate the Nigerian local immediately fix the problem so that that line now become operational. Then the investigation will follow. Yes, because the major issue now is to restore service, to restore the rail system so that it begins to work. Very, very important. So then you have to mandate NRC to make that line operational, and then investigation will now follow. Full-scale investigation to unravel the performance of the rail system.
Any seconder to that? Senator Joel.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Joel Onuabo Thomas. I represent the good people of Delta South Senatorial District. Mr. President, I second the first motion, which says that another committee is set up
to
thoroughly investigate.
The first motion is the motion of the Deputy Senate President, calling on the Nigerian Railway Corporation
Okay.
to immediately fix.
Okay. Okay. The first one is
along the Ojevo.
Okay.
Otagba.
Okay. So to mandate NRC to immediately fix that rail line, I so second, sir.
Thank you. This one colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the first, the first amendment should now read that we should call on the Nigerian Railway Corporation and mandate them to immediately fix the current technical problem that led to the derailment on the Ojevu stroke a type line immediately. Those in support of the prayer has moved and seconded say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So that prayer one. Now this prayer two, Senator Shumule. The prayer two will now be the full-scale investigation.
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you very much. My name is Adam Saliu Eric Oshomole, representing the people of Edo North, Edo State. I would like to second the amendment originally moved by Senator Nigin, except for the issue of public hearing. If you are doing investigation, I think the committee will naturally look out for experts, those who have the know-how.
The method of investigation will not matter to us, but the major thing is once we have an investigative hearing, if public hearing is an option, they will fix it. If a private hearing is an option, they will fix it. The major thing is a holistic investigation to be carried out on the situation, and of course it will involve members of the public. It will involve inviting the Nigerian Railway Corporation and so many others. And then if you don't make it transparent, people will think that there's a wish hunt.
Yeah.
They will think there's a wish hunt. So I think if we don't need to mention public hearing or any type of hearing, but we know that as usual with these chambers, we must make it transparent so that the Nigerian public will be part and parcel of the investigation, and so that there will be believability in the outcome.
I'm very well guided, sir. So I rise to second the motion as moved by Senator Nigin, to the effect that a whole-scale investigation should be carried out by the committee of the Senate. By the committee of the Senate.
By another committee of the Senate. Those in support of the motion that the Senate should immediately set up another committee to undertake a whole-scale investigation of the situation of our red lines vis-a-vis the loans collected from China and then the items brought into the country, including the implementation of the red lines across board. Those in support, as seconded by Senator Shumole, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Sharifadin, I think we should have a time frame within which they should bring that progress report of the investigative hearing, because this is a very serious issue that Nigerians would like to hear. Yes,
thank you, Mr. President. It'll be 4 weeks.
Yeah,
Mr. President, sir. I said 4 weeks should be okay, sir. That's my 4 weeks.
Distinguished Senator Ndume.
Distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Alindume, representing Borno South. Just as you mentioned, Mr. President, that distinguished Senator Babangida was part of the previous administration. I want to add additional prayers to find out, the committee should find out whether Senator Osmin Opabio was also part of
the administration when the loan was collected and signed. I so move.
Is there anybody who wants to second the earlier additional prayer that we should give 4 weeks for this back to the August Assembly? Senator Zhang. 4 weeks is short, President. You can second with amendment.
Okay. I, Senator Titus, start to exam Benue Northwest Senatorial District. I rise to amend the suggestion that this very serious national assignment be carried within such a time. That will not give us enough time to look deep into the issues that surround this very critical sector of our economy. So I think 1 full month, 2 months, 6 weeks will be like suggest.
We actually don't need a motion. I can give. Yes, thank you for. So, it's saying that your suggestions by the presiding and that he has decided that the report shall close assembly in 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Then we now come back to Senator Ndume. Senator Ndume, you said additional prayer should be to find out whether Senator Godswill Akpabio was there when the loan was taken. But you know I wasn't there when the loan was taken. But you approved the loan. You approved the loan in the Senate. You were there. you approved the loan in the Senate. You were there. But you did not go back to check how the loan was utilized. We are now trying to do your job for you. Senator Ndube, after you approved the loan to be taken from China and the moribund whatever, the trucks and facilities were brought into Nigeria as against the ones that the Chinese took to Mombasa, which is still working, and we started having these problems. So we became a dumping ground. You were there. You never set up a committee like we are doing to find out why the one in Mombasa is working and the one in Nigeria is not working. And we are now trying to do your job. And now you are trying to accuse the Senate President of being there. I never traveled to China in my life, so I don't know. Oh, okay, I've been to China before. So, Deputy Senate President, please bear me out. Are you going to second the motion by... If you are not seconding, say so that we can rule. You see, that the one to second the motion.
Let's not take this in, lightly.
We are not taking it lightly.
There's no country that has ever done without a good rail system. And we cannot get an exception.
I know.
We have spent billions and billions of naira to invest in the rail system. So we must investigate very well. What is happening?
You are angry that Senator Ndume tried to personalize it by mentioning the Senate President. So, okay. So in the absence of anybody, seconding motion, Ndume's motion, you are hereby ruled out of order. Yes. Distinguished colleagues, let me say that the outcome of the investigation will really determine its focus of the Senate and also what we convey to the executive by way of final resolution of this matter. But I thank all, and I thank particularly Senator Ide Dafinone this has been a very worrisome situation. There is no country that that operates without a good rail system. And this will also, if we get it right, it will save our roads. And it will make it easy for goods and services to move through our ports and through the rail to their destinations. So I don't need to say more than that, but I thank the distinguished colleagues for this decision. So we will now set up the ad hoc committee. DSP, DSP. The distinguished Senator Shumole. The distinguished Senator Shumole. The distinguished Senator Shumole and the distinguished Senator Ojo Zokalo. Please, yes, approach the chair. Allow me, Leko, approach the chair. Let me say that because of the very nature of the motion, it has stirred the conscience of the Senate, and it is something that we have to take very, very, very seriously. So accordingly, the Senate has composed an ad hoc committee to investigate the persistent derailment of our rail lines, and then also undertake a full-scale investigation into the loans that were taken for these rail facilities, the implementation, the uses, and the reason why we're having all the thieving problems, while other countries are enjoying their rail services. They will, at the same time, also proceed solution to Nigeria's rail situation with 140-something or 50-something million people. Nigeria cannot afford to put all the weight on the roads. The road infrastructure we are currently doing will not survive. So it's important to move most things through the rails. But distant derailment, the nature of implementation, today you see that the track is failing or the rail is falling, it's happening. So we have never had of uninterrupted service since we took the trillions of loans from China. We need to look at how the loans were utilized and the implementation. And I think this is a service we owe to our country. So the hardcore committee will draw up terms of reference. The leadership will also give them additional terms of reference. But you will please go all the way and come back with a report that even the executive will be proud of to implement. I thank you. So the members will, because of the peculiarity of it, we decided to ensure that somebody who has the interest of workers should be the chairman, because Nigerian people must feel the impact. So the Senior Senator Adams Oshumole, you chair the ad hoc committee. Other members will be the Senior Senator Babangida. At least he has a lot of knowledge, having been a permanent secretary in Ministry of Works and Housing. Then we include very distinguished Senator Abaribe, landlord of the Senate, and a very committed Nigerian, and a man of incorruptibility. The man that says it the way it is. So I know you care for this country. Senator Abaribe, you can win election in any party. That's why we are not worried about you. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Transportation, distinguished Senator Alero, will also be there. And then, of course, distinguished Senator Oshilogu. Of course, if we don't move things by rail, we'll move it to marine services. So we think you should also be there, because it will help you to decongest the ports if the rail lines are working. The same Senator Ositango, you have a lot of knowledge, and you were the only PDP senator that survived in 2023 in the whole of the 5 states of Southeast. But now I don't know, you are still the minority whip, so I wouldn't know whether you have decided to enter the APC. But I recognize you where you are seated for now. I'm still looking at you until you finally disclose to the Senate where you actually belong. I have an idea. I don't want to disclose directly, but let him use his mouth to disclose. And you know, the day he does that, we'll lead him from there. So, this is Senator Ojus Okalu, an elder statesman. And I know regime after regime, right from 1999. So you will know when the loan was conceived how it was executed and everything. Please assist the committee with your reservoir of information. But where you think there is conflict, if any of your companies undertook any job there, please just step aside to avoid conflict of interest. And then dismissed Senator Yayi Olamilekon, from the financial standpoint, we believe you should also be there. Dismissed Senator Dan Kwambo, from the financial standpoint, in case this thing actually happened when you were accountant general before you became governor. So we want you to tell us where the money went to. So please agree to serve in this committee. And then, of course, one of our ladies, the distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe, she's an engineer, so she should be able to have knowledge of quality engineering and everything. She's also representing the North Central in this committee. Then distinguished Senator Sahabi Yao, you're a member of this committee because you were there. You were the first chairman of, I think, transport. Was it? Huh? No, use your mic because I would like to know.
I was there quite all right, and I knew exactly what we did to improve upon what has happened in Abuja Kaduna rail line, and I believe this information could be of valuable importance.
Then you were chairman of
land transport. That was in the 9th Senate. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Well, all these problems happen in the 9th Senate. Anyway, the distinguished Senator Sahabi Yao, you came highly recommended as a result of your wide experience. And we believe that going forward, the solution that you have, at least part of the solution to resolving these issues, and then charting a way forward for the country. And then the mover of the motion, who has been an eyewitness to the derailment, the single Senator Ide Dafinone. So I think this is okay, but the chairman, you have a right to call anybody that you think has enough information to enable you to do your work within the chambers to join you. Your report is expected in 4 weeks at most. It's a very serious issue. 4 weeks. Is that the wish of the Senate? Those in support say aye, those against say nay. So please, in 4 weeks, very important. Correspondence from Mr. President. Distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, GCN, President of the Senate, Distinguished Senate President, request for confirmation of ministerial nominee. In compliance with the provisions of Section 147, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I am pleased to forward to the Senate the nomination of Dr. Kingsley Tochukwu Ude, San, Senior Nigeria, for confirmation as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. While I hope that this request will receive the usual expeditious consultation of the Senate, please accept distinguished Senate President and distinguished senators the assurances of my highest regards. This is signed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and is hereby referred to the Committee of the Whole for immediate consideration. Further correspondence from Mr. President. Distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio GCON, President of the Senate, distinguished Senate President, request for the approval of the National Assembly for a borrowing program to fund the 2025 budget deficit. I write to kindly request for the approval of the National Assembly to establish a 1,150 billion naira, that is 1.150 trillion borrowing program in the domestic debt market to close the unfunded deficit gap created by the increase in the budget size over and above the prior approved revenue and borrowing plans. This request is pursuant to the provisions of Section 44, subsection 1 to 2 of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, FRA, of 2007, which requires the approval of the National Assembly for all new borrowings by the federal government of Nigeria. The distinguished President of the Senate may wish to note that the National Assembly passed a budget of 59.9 trillion, an increase of 5.25 trillion from the 49.74 trillion budgeted a budget proposal by the executive. This increase created a budget deficit of 14 trillion. However, the proposed borrowing approved in the budget was 12.95 trillion, which occasioned an unfunded deficit of 1.1 trillion. It is therefore necessary to increase the domestic borrowing limit in the 2025 budget by 1.147 trillion to close this gap. Based on the foregoing, I wish to request for the approval of the Senate for the establishment of a 1,150 billion naira borrowing program in the domestic debt market to close the unfunded 2025 budget deficit gap. A specimen of the approval required for this purpose is attached as an extra 2. While I look forward to the timely approval of the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President, distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest consideration and personal regards. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is referred to the Committee on Local and Foreign Debt to revert to the Senate in 1 week. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. Senate President, distinguished colleague, the first business of the day is presentation of House Bill standing in the name of Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, Establishment Bill 2025 HB 1283. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute Management, Establishment Bill 2025 HB 1283, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute Establishment Bill 2025 HB 1283, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleague, the second business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Abubakar Abdul Aziz Yari on the National Program on Free School Meal, Establishment Bill 2025 SB 928. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Program on Free School Meal Establishment Bill 2025 SB 928. First reading.
Distinguished colleagues, National Program on Free School Meal Establishment Bill 2025 SB 928. First reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the third business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Buhari Abdul Fattah on the mandatory patronage of local airlines, Bill 2025 SB 934. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, mandatory patronage of local airline bill 2025 SB 934. First reading.
Distinguished colleagues, mandatory patronage of local airlines bill 2025 SB 934. Mandatory patronage of local airlines bill 2025 SB 934. First reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the fourth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Azuko Epeyong on the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 935. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 935. First reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 935. First reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the fifth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Osita Ungu on the administration of Criminal Justice Act, Amendment Bill 2025 SB 937. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Administration of Criminal Justice Act Amendment Bill 2025 SB 937. First reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Administration of Criminal Justice Act Amendment Bill 2025 SB 937. First reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the sixth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Suleiman Umar Sadiq on the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2025 SB 940. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control Act, Repeal and Enactment Bill 2025 SB 940. First reading.
Distinguished colleagues, National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2025 SB 940. First reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the first order of the day is second reading of Maritime Zone Bill 2025 SB 02. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 20 July 2023. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Wasiu Esilokun, who will stand in for Senator Suleiman Umar Sadiq, to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Oshulokun.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President, distinguished colleagues. I am Senator Wasiu Sani Eshinlokun, representing Lagos Central. I move that a bill for an act to repeal the Exclusive Economic Zone Act and the Territorial Waters Act and enact the Maritime Zones 2025 in order to make comprehensive provisions for the maritime zones of Nigeria and for other matters connected therewith 2025 SBO2 be read the second time. And sir, in furtherance of that, if it pleases you, sir, can I take the lead debate?
Proceed.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead debate on this bill, which seeks to repeal the Exclusive Economic Zones Act and the Territorial Water Act and enact the Maritime Zones Act 2025 in order to make comprehensive provisions for the maritime zones of Nigeria. You will recall that this bill was read the first time on Thursday, 20th January 2023. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, 1982, consists of a set of rules and regulations, making up a comprehensive legal framework that deals with all aspects of man's activities and interactions with the ocean and seas. The convention sets out the legal framework within which all activities in the oceans and sea must be carried out, and these activities should be consistent with its provisions. States that have ratified the conventions are expected to respect and implement the articles of the convention. Nigeria ratified UNCLOS in 1986 and has enacted national laws that address the many areas of UNCLOS, but many of its laws are yet to be brought in consonance with the provisions of the convention. The following areas of maritime zones are of importance to Nigeria. Territorial seas, 12 nautical miles from the baselines from which the territorial seas is measured, Articles 2 to 16. Contiguous zones, 24 nautical miles from the baselines from which the territorial seas is measured, Article 33. Exclusive Economic Zone, 200 nautical miles, Article 55 to 75. The Continental Shelf, 350 nautical miles, that is in Article 76 to 85. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, you may recall that prior to this period, Nigeria was implementing the Geneva Convention. The major change introduced by the bill is the incorporation of the UNCLOS regime for the determination of the seawall limits of the continental shelf in particular. Article 76 of UNCLOS rather than simply the continental shelf as provided under Article 1 of the Geneva Convention on the Continental Shelf, 1958. Nigeria acceded to the Geneva Convention on 28 April 1971, but ratified UNCLOS on 14 August 1986, on UNCLOS coming into force on 16 November 1994. UNCLOS prevailed over the Geneva Convention in relation to those states that were parties to both conventions. By virtue of Article 311 subsection 1, does the UNCLOS continental shelf regime now applies to Nigeria, and it is this regime that needs to be implemented by the bill.
Presently, the Petroleum Industry Act defines the continental shelf as the seabed and subsoil of those submarine areas adjacent to the coast of Nigeria, the surface of which lies at a depth not greater than 200 meters, or where its natural resources are capable of exploitation at any depth. Below the surface of the sea, excluding so much of those areas as lie below the territorial waters of Nigeria. This definition is in line with the now superseded Article 1 of the Geneva Convention, and will need to be amended to be consistent with the draft bill's UNCOLS based definition of the continental shelf. Nigeria had not claimed a contiguous zone which would enable the extension of its enforcement jurisdictions for its custom, fiscal, immigration, and sanitary laws and regulations. The contiguous zone is a maritime zone that has a maximum breadth of 12 nautical miles, commencing from the outward seaward limit of the territorial sea. The bill claims this zone in clause 6, subsection 1, with all its related benefits. The contiguous zone is an enforcement area for offences committed on sovereign territory, that is, territory or territorial sea, and for the taking of measures to prevent the infringement of such laws on the territory. Section 7.1 shows that Nigeria has also claimed another jurisdictions in the contiguous zones permitted by UNCLOS, which concerns the protection of submerged archaeological and historical objects and their trafficking. The bill does not require a financial compendium as contained in Orders 76.3, and so it does not require the creation of any new agencies of government to administer it. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the bill will constitute an important policy instrument of national and regional relevance. It is a challenge that should be made by states of Nigeria's political, economic, and legal structure. What we're saying is that this bill is just to bring the present bill in consonance and in tandem with the international conventions. I therefore plead with my colleagues and urge you to support the passage of this bill so that the second reading can be taken. Thank you very much. Yes, this is Senator Hanga.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Senator Rufai Hanga, representing Kano Central. Mr. President, while not opposing the bill read for the second time, but I would like to suggest that when the bill is read for the second time, there is need to circulate the details of this bill, at least 1 week or 3 weeks, 1 to 3 weeks before its passage, because there is need for us to read, digest, and understand what it is, because that is what is normally done in all the legislative houses. When there is a bill sensitive as this, there's normally time given for all the members to go through it, and at times there was a time when we were even employing some experts to look into certain things before we come back to do this thing. Now, sir, I worked under NEVSA, Nigerian Export Processing Zone Authority. I was a pioneer staff, and I rose up to the level of a director there. We opened the Calabar zone, the Kano zone, the Lagos zone, the Korobasi, and all these zones were opened by us, and then all other subsequent zones after I left. Sir, I'm conversant with the law that establishes the zones, and I'm conversant with the laws of these exclusive zones, free zones. So I think it is important for us to have a look at it so that justice is done to the bill and to the nation, sir. Thank you very much. I submit.
Senator Ningi.
Sir. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Dr. Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Center of Bauchi State and a member of Marine Committee. And by being a member, I'm at home with some of the regulations guiding the marine industry. Of course, I've listened to my brother on his observation. But the intention of this bill is to bring in line a convention signed by Nigeria and ratified by Nigeria on the UNCLOS law. UNCLOS law means United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Sea. What this bill seeks to achieve, you recall, Mr. President, when we were discussing the various laws, and it is a national convention that says first, territorial sea is 12 nautical miles from the baseline from which the territorial sea is measured. Contiguous zone is 24 nautical miles. Exclusive economic zone is 200 nautical miles. The continental shelf is 350 nautical miles. What this convention seeks to achieve is that for a very long time, even though we are a member of the UNCLOS Convention, which we signed in 1971 and ratified it in 1986. However, we have not added Nigeria's jurisdiction. That jurisdiction that the UNCLOS gave us the right to extend has not been amended because we have not amended our laws to tally with what we have done at the convention. The Nigeria had not claimed the contiguous zone, which will enable the extension of its enforcement jurisdiction for its customs, physical migration, sanitary laws, and other regulations, etc., etc. Unless, of course, the Parliament approve this extension, then it is no longer in place to be experimented, to be implemented, MC globally, and look at what you have ratified, which you fail to take advantage of the ratification that we have done in 1986. Since 1986, this particular extension has not been approved because we have not the Parliament. And it is nobody's business. Nobody will come and tell us to do it. It is when the Parliament ratifies, amend and ratifies, that it becomes law. We can now say Nigeria, as a member of the UNCLOS law, the Parliament of Nigeria has ratified this convention, then it is implemented. Otherwise, if we continue to allow the law as it is, and there is a violation of our international waters by sea, by anything possible, then we can no longer take it to court. But now that we ratify it, then we have the opportunity to now say you have violated our international waters because our contiguous zone is no longer the 350, it's more than 350.
Matters to move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on the Screening of a Nominee for Confirmation of Appointment as Resident Electoral Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission. I so move.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the Senate will receive the report of the Committee on the Screening of the Resident Electoral Commissioners. Those in support of the motion have moved and seconded, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, you may proceed to lay the report. This is Senator Zero. Who seconded the motion that the Senate should take the report?
Oh. Mr. President, you didn't call for...
Okay, let somebody, this is Senator Dan Kwambo. Just second the motion that we can take this report.
Your Excellency, my name is Senator Ibrahim Dangombo. I hereby second the motion that the report be laid before the Senate. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, those in support that this report come up now, be received and deliberated upon, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So please read the report now. Yes, you have regularized the irregularity. So you can go and give us a little synopsis and then we proceed.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, once again, I'm Bino Siaro, representing Adamawa South. The Senate, at its sitting on Wednesday, 8th October, referred to the Committee on Electoral Matters the request of Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief for confirmation of the appointment of Professor Taylor Adeniran Ramon as a resident electoral commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The committee's report is very detailed and has been circulated. I will go straight to the committee's resolution and recommendation in paragraph 6 and 7 of the report. Resolution. Having studied the nominee's curriculum vitae and other relevant documents, and after exhaustive interaction and deliberation with him, in addition to his integrity, committee members unanimously resolve that Professor Taylor Adeniran Ramon has satisfied the requirements of the Constitution and found to be a fit and proper person for appointment as resident electoral commission of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Recommendation. The committee therefore hereby recommends as follows: that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Professor Taylor Adeniran Ramon as resident electoral commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the chairman and members of the committee, I wish to most sincerely thank the President of the Senate, other principal officers, and indeed the entire distinguished members of this hallowed chamber for giving us the opportunity to serve in this regard. I so submit.
Clerk of the leader of the Senate.
Mr. Senate President, I stand to move a motion that we resolve into committee of all to consider the report.
Minority leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the Senate resolve to committee of the whole to consider the report. I so second.
Since colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we do resolve in the committee of the whole to consider this report. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Professor Taylor Adeniran Raymond for appointment as Resident Electoral Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Professor Taylor Adeniran Raymond as Resident Electoral Commissioner in the Independent National Electoral Commission is hereby approved. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, may I request you to revert back to plenary in order to report progress?
The Minority Leader.
Mr. President, motion to revert back to plenary is hereby seconded.
Those colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we revert to plenary for the chair to report progress. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Electoral Matters on the screening of Mr. President's nominee for appointment as Resident Electoral Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission and approved the nomination of Professor Taylor Adeniran Raymond as Resident Electoral Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Professor Taylor Adeniran Raymond for appointment as Resident Electoral Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Nomination of Professor Taylor Adeniran Raymond is hereby confirmed as Resident Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The nomination of Professor Taylor Adeniran Raymond is hereby confirmed as Resident Electoral Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Let me thank the Senate Committee on it for the speedy manner in and also thank my colleagues for their contributions, and we shall confirm success in his new endeavor and pray that he will add wisdom, integrity, and dignity to his job to enable us to have a very peaceful election on Saturday in Anambra State, if he is so sworn in, and subsequent elections in Nigeria. Congratulations to Mr. President for finding the right sort of people to also man the right positions. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the fourth order of the day is presentation and consideration of report of Committee on Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, on the screening of Dr. Musa Babayo for the appointment as chairman to the board of Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Yahoo Sha'abi Alhaji, chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Sabi Yao, am I right? Huh? Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. President, Oshitangu Enugu West, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the screening of the Chairman Board of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have. Distinguished colleague, you may now present Senator Sabi Yao Alaji. You may present.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Yao
proceed
Sabi
to lay your
Alaji,
report.
presenting the. Sorry?
You
No,
have
I will
to-
have to tell him that I have to lay. And
You have to lay your report.
okay, it's all right. No, I'm not. I'm not.
Senator Yao, you may give the meet.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I'm Yao Sahabi Alhaji, Chairman, Senate Committee on PEMA. Mr. President, the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria at its sitting on 8 October 2025 considered the request from Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation, on the confirmation of the chairman to the board of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, PEMA, and report same to the Senate Committee for further legislative actions. Mr. President, the report is concise, straightforward, and therefore we want to seek your permission to go to pages 4 and 6, where we have our observations, findings. Mr. President, on page 4, under our findings, we find that the nomination is in line with section 1472 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which states the President shall appoint the chairman and members of the board subject to confirmation by the Senate. That the committee not to receive any petition again as chairman board of PEMA. That the police report on fingerprint search of the nominee was received. That the nominee has been cleared by the Department of State Services. That the nominee has presented his code of conduct acknowledgement slip. That the nominee possesses the requisite academic qualifications as well as wide-ranging experiences of the board of. Mr. President, I now go to page 6, where we have our recommendations. The committee has carefully and thoroughly screened the nominee, and it is satisfied that qualification, exposure, conduct, character, experience, and general performance. The nominee has displayed wide and in-depth knowledge on financial management, research, and strategic policy governance. Therefore, the committee recommends as follows: that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Dr. Musa Babayo for appointment as chairman of the board of FEMA. The committee hereby expresses its gratitude to the leadership to Mr. President, Dr. Goswill Akpabio, the leadership of the Senate and distinguished senators for giving it the opportunity to serve in this capacity. I so move, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chair. DSP.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I will say, if not for the sake of going with our procedure, I don't think we need to waste any time on this nominee because it's known to us. He knows to you. It's your, and we know he's a man of good pedigree, an astounding person, has an astounding track record. He was everywhere in service of our fatherland. Sometimes chairman of PTDF. So it's third fund. He has served traditional ruler. Yes. From Katago, where your ADC comes from. He's a known person, very wonderful pedigree. So I don't think we need to waste any time to get him screened so that he can assume office. And we commend Mr. President in the first place for nominating him. And Mr. President is somebody who is experienced. He always picks the right people at all times to manage, separate all the positions that he has so far brought forth to us to confirm. He has done well here too by picking this gentleman, a man of good pedigree, excellent pedigree, sound track record. So let's not waste any time, Mr. President. You know him, he's your friend. So thank you.
Thank you for exposing me. Those in support that I think from what you have said, we just can't. Let's follow our procedure. Senate leader, move a motion for us to go into the committee of the whole. That's all.
Mr. President, I stand to move a motion that will resolve to the committee of whole to consider the report. I so move.
Mr. President, I like to second the motion that the Senate resolve to the committee of the whole to consider the report.
Thank you. Listening colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we resolve into committee of the whole to consider this report. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We resolve into committee of the whole. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Dr. Musa Babayo for appointment as chairman to the board of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The appointment and nomination of Dr. Musa Babayo is hereby approved. as chairman of FEMA. Leader of the Senate.
May I invite Mr. President to report progress in plenary.
Minority Leader.
Tina, Chair, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do revert back to plenary so that the Chair can report progress.
Colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we revert to plenary for the Chair to report progress. Those in support of the motion as moved say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate is the committee of the whole. Consider the report of the Committee on Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, on the screening of Mr. President's nominee for appointment as chairman to the Board of Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, and approve the nomination of Dr. Musa Babayo as chairman to the Board of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Musa Babayo for appointment as chairman to the Board of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. Musa Babayo is hereby confirmed as chairman to the Board of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA. Let me thank distinguished Senator Yao Alaji and members of this committee on FEMA, Senate Committee on FEMA, for doing a wonderful job of ensuring proper screening and now recommending the nominee for approval and confirmation by the Senate. And congratulate Dr. Musa Babayo that he has been found fit and proper to occupy the position of chairman of FEMA. And just like the Deputy Senate President said, judging from his pedigree, his mien, his candor, and his integrity, we believe that he will carry this wealth of experience that spanned decades in the service of his nation into this assignment so that we can stop the deaths of most of Nigerian citizens on very poor roads in our country. We wish him luck. And further, we congratulate Mr. President for putting again a square peg in a square hole. Congratulations to the Senate for all your contributions. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the fifth order of the day is presentation and consideration of report of Committee on Communications on the confirmation of nominations of the following persons as listed on the order paper for appointment as chairman and commissioners in Nigerian Communications Commission. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Bibis Aliu Ikra, chairman of committee, to move the motion for presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Bebius.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, I'm Ikra Ali Wilbis.
Please second the motion. No, let him second the motion first.
I should second and represent, Mr. President. It's my
Proceed to move your motion.
Thank you, sir, Mr. President. My name is Ikra Ali Wilbis. I stand to move the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Communication on the confirmation of the nomination of the following persons, appointment as chairman and members of the committee. I so move.
Mr. President, my name is Engineer Patrick C. Ndubweze. I stand to second the motion as moved by Ikra Davis. If I may contribute while moving the motion, supporting the motion. Okay, thank you.
Well, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do receive the report from the Committee on Communications for considerations. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So, Senator Bibis, you may proceed to lay the report. So just give us, as a former Minister of Communications, just give us just your findings and recommendations.
Mr. President, thank you very much, my distinguished colleagues. My findings are nomination by Mr. President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation are in consonance with the provision of Section 8(1) of the Nigerian Communication Act 2003. The professional and educational experience of the nominees will contribute immensely to the development of communication sector in Nigeria. Betting inquiries conducted on the nominees to ascertain their competence, credibility, suitability for appointment of the chairman and commissioner of the board of the Nigerian Communication Commission were favorable. The nominees met the requirements for appointment into office as enshrined in Section 7(1)(ah) of the Act, NCC Act 2003. If the confirmation is made by the board of NCC, would have been fully constituted in line with Section 5(2) of NCC Act 2003. Your Excellency, my distinguished colleagues, our recommendation. The committee, after exhaustive deliberations and the scrutiny of the curriculum vitae and other supporting documents of the nominees are having been satisfied and their qualifications suitable, competent and ability in communication regulatory matters, hereby recommend that of the following. The Chief Idris Obokule Onomombe Southwest as a chairman, Board of Nigerian Communication Commission. 2, Senator Ramani Olekan Mustafa, Southwest, as the Commissioner, Board of the Nigerian Communication Commission. 3rd, Engineer Ekichuku Oregde, Southeast, as Commissioner, Board of Nigerian Communication Commission. 4, Princess Omiko, South-South, as Commissioner, Board of Nigerian Communication Commission. 5, Barrister Christopher Sandy Okore, South-South, as Commissioner, Board of the Nigerian Communication Commission. Last but not least, Ajia Mariambai, Northeast, as a Commissioner, Board of the Nigerian Communication Commission. Your Excellency, my distinguished colleagues, our prayer is that the Senate do approve and recommend recommendations of the committee. I so move, Your Excellency.
Any contribution? Yes. SARS, Under Secretary of State.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Shoaibu Falabi Salisu is my name, Senator representing Ogun Central Senatorial District. I am not just a member of the Committee on Communications, I also chair the Sister Committee on ICT and Cybersecurity. I rise to fully support the nominations and the report of the Committee on Communications. Mr. President, if you look at the 6 people who have been nominated, it's an uncommon combination of youthful vibrance, experience of a legislator, former Senator Lekan Mustafa. You have an engineer on this board, you have a lawyer, you have a princess, and if you also like, you also have an Nigeria. This is the most robust and very balanced team that will manage the NCC, particularly at a time our focus is on digital economy. I believe each and every one of these nominees will bring something fresh, a fresh perspective to the board of NCC. I therefore support this nomination, and I urge the Senate and my distinguished colleagues to approve these nominations and approve this report as presented by the chairman of the Communications Committee. I so support, Mr. President.
Senator Ome.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor Ome, OFR. I represent Anambra Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to sincerely commend the committee and your esteemed self by making a correction that, an omission that actually occurred initially, where the Southeast had no nominee in this commission. This matter was brought up to you and to the chairman of the committee, Senator Bilbis. And you did everything to ensure that according to the law establishing the commission, that the Southeast should have a commissioner. And that has prompted the nomination of a very good man, an engineer, Engineer Ikechukwu Ugwegede, to serve in this commission. When we see this type of thing, we don't hesitate in giving support to it, because it has reflected the spirit of the law establishing the commission, and a credible person has also been nominated to represent the Southeast Zone in this commission. So without much ado, I want to say that this report has met all the requirements for its acceptance and confirmation of the nominees. So I so much appreciate this work, and I give my wholehearted support to it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I must also say that the senior Senator Ome and the senior Senator Baribe, in a very quiet way, brought this to my attention, that according to the law, that every zone of the country should be represented in this commission, and that Southeast was absent. And I promised them that I would take it up with the president. And I took it up with the president. And immediately, the president took action and reverted back to the Senate with all the zones represented. And this is in line with his commitment that he is not God, that if there's any small infraction, please draw it to his attention, and that he is not ashamed to reverse himself so long as it is in the interest of Nigeria. So I want to thank you for pointing that out. It would even have been against the law, but it wasn't really an act of omission as such. There's a name there that is called Okorie that looked as if it was a Southeast name. But it turns out that the person was actually representing South-South. That was the mistake. And then it has been corrected. So I thank you for bringing this to the fore. And that should be the spirit of partnership. We are working for the same country. We are not interested in any section of the country being marginalized. And we are not interested in any section of the country being left behind. And the president is a listening president. We should not take the fact that he's a listening president for granted. So there are some people in the past who will not even answer you. And the report will be passed as it was presented at that time. So I congratulate the president for his humility. And I also thank him for working in close partnership with these chambers. Thank you. Leader of the Senate, may wish to move that we revert to committee of the whole, since there is nobody opposed to this submission.
Mr. President, I stand to move a motion that we resolve into committee of whole to consider the report. I so move.
Thank you. There's the minority leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the Senate resolve to committee of the whole to consider the report. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we revert to committee of the whole to continue the screening and confirmation exercise of Mr. President nominees for the board of the Nigerian Communications Commission. Those in support of the motion say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Olame Leko, I noticed your mouth doing you did not open it well. Nothing came out. Thank you. Please. Nengi is sitting. Yeah, I have 3 different places today. Maybe he's looking for the best seat that will suit him. On the majority side, we welcome you. So, distinguished colleagues, no, you are not the one. The first person was okay. He's from Northeast, and he has been a leader before. Point of order.
Improper sitting, Chairman. Ningi should go to his seat.
Read the order.
Let me have the other book. 55.
Okay.
55.
Okay.
Let me read it so that Ningi will hear.
No.
If he wants to cross over, he will tell us.
Your point of order is noted.
Okay, thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Chief Idris Ibikunle Olorimbe, representing Southwest, for appointment as chairman in the Nigerian Communications Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.